Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel PantherSchools. My name is Amit Singh, and as I promised earlier that we are going to create a series on MuleSoft Composer with the multiple use cases that is going to cover multiple systems like Salesforce, Jira, QuickBooks, Stripe, and Slack and other systems. So this is going to be the very first video of our MuleSoft Composer series where we are going to talk about the very basic introduction about MuleSoft Composer, and we are going to work on a very basic simple use case, that is Salesforce to Salesforce integration. Before we go ahead and start working with MuleSoft Composer, please give it a like, give it a subscribe, and also press that bell icon so that you don't miss any notification from our channel PantherSchools. Now let's quickly get started. So let's first talk about what is MuleSoft Composer. So MuleSoft Composer is a no-code integration tool that is going to help you to integrate multiple platforms without writing a single line of code. You can think of MuleSoft Composer like a flow builder if you are familiar with Salesforce, and you can also think of MuleSoft Composer like a MuleSoft Canvas if you have worked on MuleSoft Anypoint platform. And with the help of MuleSoft Composer, we are going to integrate multiple systems including Salesforce, Slack, ServiceNow, Jira, Stripe, QuickBooks, and other systems as well. If you wanted to access MuleSoft Composer, because this is a application which is an app exchange application that you cannot directly install within your Salesforce or in your MuleSoft application. So what you have to do is basically you have to raise a request to the Salesforce or MuleSoft. How you can raise, we will see into the later part of this video itself. And this MuleSoft Composer has nearly 25 plus built-in connector that you can utilize in order to integrate to any system. It's not only integrating Salesforce to external application or external application to Salesforce. You can integrate any external application to any other external application that are pre-built connector here. The very important thing about this MuleSoft Composer, or I would say the best thing, is that this is getting enhanced on every release that Salesforce is releasing. So we are getting multiple new connectors, we are getting multiple new abilities. Like recently we have got the error handling ability with the help of MuleSoft Composer. So these are some of the systems. You can see I have taken this screenshot recently in my MuleSoft Composer account, and I can see that these are the various systems that we can easily integrate with Salesforce, or these systems can be easily integrated together. Now, how you can access MuleSoft Composer? This is very important because if you don't have access to MuleSoft Composer, you cannot really work on MuleSoft Composer. So there are two ways that you can get the access to MuleSoft Composer. If you are a Salesforce partner, you can log into your partner portal account using your credentials, and this is a URL like partners.salesforce.com. You can navigate to supports tab, click on new case, select license request, and then for the subject you can say MuleSoft Composer license request. You can ask the support team to enable the MuleSoft Composer for you, and you just need to provide the org ID of your Salesforce org so that they can provision the license for your Salesforce org. This is for Salesforce partners. If you are a MuleSoft partner, you are working for a MuleSoft partner company, you can reach out to your either channel solution engineers or you can reach out to your channel partners. They will help you to get the access to MuleSoft Composer, and then you can start working on MuleSoft Composer. So what are the different use cases for MuleSoft Composer? Some of the use cases I have listed down over here. Like the top one is like you're working for a company called XYZ, and then their sales team is working over the Google Sheet where they are adding leads, and they really don't have access to Salesforce. And then there are users who are working on Salesforce trying to qualify and convert the lead into the opportunities, contacts, and accounts. Now there is a requirement that every time a lead is created into the Google Sheet, that lead should be created into Salesforce. That is one of the use case, a very easy and simple use case that really going to save a lot of time for any user. Instead of doing a copy paste the data from Google Sheet to Salesforce, they will be easily able to get that lead within Salesforce. Then there is another requirement. Then maybe you are working for a company who is managing the leads or order in the Salesforce, but they don't process the order from Salesforce. For processing the order, they have a different system like SAP or some other warehousing from where they are processing the order. So you can also easily, whenever their order is created within Salesforce with the help of OMS, maybe B2B or B2C, you can easily send that order to the other system like SAP or any other warehousing for the fulfillment of that order. And then again, uh, if talking about another scenario here, which is the third one, like if you have a case which is created or updated within Salesforce, you wanted to send the message to a Slack channel or to a manager in the Slack for the better collaboration and for the better SLA for your cases, you can do that easily as well. And we are going to keep talking about the scenarios. These are some of the scenarios that we are going to work on. Now let's talk about what are the key elements of a MuleSoft Composer flow, because this is really important. This is a flow, so definitely there are going to have key elements, and there are three main key elements, and out of one is trigger. What is your source? So if we talk about our scenario, the scenario number one, where we are saying the sales team works over the Google Sheet. Okay, so from where we wanted to get the data to Salesforce. So trigger is our source, is our Google Sheet, and from Google Sheet we wanted to get the data into Salesforce. So that is our triggering. Triggering point is going to be really important, or the source system from which we are getting the data into Salesforce. Then the processing part is like we wanted to do the main data manipulation, we wanted to make some queries, perform some validation, use some for loop or if else, provide some formula, and then provide the mapping of the fields from source system to the target system, and then do the processing. That is what we are going to do into the process phase. Then we have got the target system. So we have got source, that is triggering point, then we have got processing, then we have got target system. What is our target system? Where we wanted to send the data to. Like our source is Google Sheet, we are doing the processing, doing the mapping, data manipulation, formula fields, conditional statements or looping statement, and then at the end into the target system we are creating the records, or we are updating or upserting the records. Now what are the different flows in MuleSoft Composer, or maybe not flows, what are the different steps to create the MuleSoft Composer flow? So the very first thing that we have to do is we really need to have a connection, because if I really wanted to read a Google Sheet, or I wanted to read an object from my Salesforce environment, or read a ticket from ServiceNow, read a payment system from QuickBooks, or read the ticket from Jira system. So I really need to have a connection. We really need to do a connection, and this is really very easy to connect any external application using MuleSoft Composer, even Salesforce as well. For most of the application, it is using OAuth 2.0. So you really don't need to worry about that. You really don't need to worry about you are going to store the your username password or not. So it's really very easy for us to connect any external application. Then we need to select a triggering point when our flow is going to trigger. For example, a new row is added into the Google Sheet, or a new record has been created in a Salesforce lead object, or maybe a new ticket has been created into ServiceNow, or a case has been escalated, the status has been changed from in progress to escalated. So that kind of triggering point would be there. And we definitely wanted to define our process, the actions that you wanted to take place, you wanted to test it. So we need to test the flow. Once our testing is done, then we need to activate the flow, and we need to keep monitoring our behavior of our flow. So one important point here is, whenever you are trying to test your flow, the recommendation is first you are connected with the developer sandbox or the sandbox or the testing environment, depending on which platform you are connected to. And once your testing is good, you are able to see the outcome that you're looking for, then only connect it to the production environment and then activate the flow. So this is the use case that we are going to cover today. You're working for a company called PantherSchools. That is nothing, that's my blogging site. And this company has two different Salesforce environments that are being used by the different teams sitting in USA and India. The sales rep working for both the Salesforce org really need the access to all the leads that are getting created either in Salesforce USA org or in Salesforce India org. Currently, the sales rep has access to both the Salesforce environment, and they really are logging into the one system, and they really are logging into both the systems, working on the leads that are there created. Now, what as a developer, what you need to do is you need to develop a MuleSoft flow that is going to take the lead from Salesforce A and then send it to the Salesforce B. So in our case, both source and target both are the Salesforce org, but these are the two different Salesforce org. So this is how it's going to work. Like there is a lead record is getting created into the Salesforce org called Salesforce A. There is a MuleSoft Composer which is going to keep listening continuously that a lead is created or not, do the processing, perform the validation, and then send the record to Salesforce B. Once the record is created in Salesforce B, update a field called target Salesforce ID or target lead ID into the same record which has been created here in Salesforce org A. So that's we are going to implement. So this is my Salesforce org. I have access to MuleSoft Composer. As you can see, I'm already there into the application called MuleSoft Composer, and we have a we really have a video which is a get started video with the MuleSoft Composer, how we do the setup and all. So we've got these templates. You can also utilize the templates for integrating multiple systems. There are some of the templates that MuleSoft has provided to us that we can utilize if we wanted to integrate external application with MuleSoft or vice versa. This composer flow is the main place where we are going to work on. Here I have multiple composer flows that I have already created, as you can see on my screen. But once you need to create a new flow, you just go ahead, open your MuleSoft Composer or go to the Composer tab, Composer Flows tab, and click on New Flow. By the way, my MuleSoft Composer is sitting on my Salesforce org. If you are a MuleSoft Composer, if you are a MuleSoft partner, not Composer, your flow will be sitting on MuleSoft Anypoint platform. So as we talked about, you can see here, now it's asking us what is the triggering point of our flow, when our flow should start. Either we can start our flow whenever there is any event occurs, like a record is created, updated, or new row has been added to the Google Sheet, or we can have a scheduler like maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, that kind of scheduler we can have. Our use case is as soon as the lead is created into Salesforce org A, the lead should be sent to the Salesforce org B, and the ID of Salesforce org B should get updated into the ID into the same record. So in my case, I have got this one org which is the domain you can clearly see is a different, and then I have got another org where I have a different domain. So as a prerequisite, we really need to create a custom field on the lead object that I will say target Salesforce ID. So as you I believe that you all know how to create a lead, not lead, how to create a field on Salesforce. So I have this you need to navigate to Salesforce Object Manager and then search for leads, select the object. From the left hand side, select field and relationship and click on new. So I'll create a text ID field. So the field label I have given is target Salesforce lead ID. Length is 18 because 18 is the maximum letter for maximum length for our ID, and leave everything else as it is. Click on next. Make sure you're adding the field into the layout and then click on save to finally save the field. Next thing that we need to do is we need to navigate to our target org, and we also need to create a new field on the lead object itself, and here we are going to say a source lead ID. So we wanted to store the ID from our source org to the target org, as well as once the lead is created into the target org, we wanted to store the ID into the source org as well. So we are going to follow the same process for creating the field. So now we are done with the creating the fields here in our source org as in our target org as well. You can see here. Now let's get back to our composer flows. Select system event, and you can see here there are multiple connectors that we can see here, and our connector is Salesforce, and that is here. The image is not being showed. Maybe I'll just refresh it. It could be the because of the internet connectivity. Sometime it happens, but you will clearly see the image as well, so you really don't need to worry about. So you can see here the image is coming up now. Select Salesforce. I already have multiple connection here where I see my main Salesforce org, which is this one where Salesforce Composer is already installed. So I'll go ahead and click on add new connection. So I'm going to create a connection. You can see here I've got my main org. This is the name of my Salesforce connection here itself. This is not a sandbox environment, so I really don't need to check this checkbox, and click on connect. So once you click on connect, this is a kind of pop-up that you will see where you really need to provide the username and password of your Salesforce org and click on login. So if your username and password are connect, you will get redirected either if you don't have any 2FA. I have 2FA enabled, so that's why I'm getting this screen. But if you don't have the 2FA enabled, you will get back to MuleSoft Composer screen, and yeah, before that you will see this allow access, so you really need to click on allow, and you can see your main org has been connected, and you got your triggering point is Salesforce, and the connection that we are connected to is my main org. And then you can select whenever you wanted to trigger this MuleSoft flow, you can select new record or new or updated or deleted record. So we need to select new record, and then it will ask which object you wanted to trigger. That means because new record could be created in any object. It could be lead, case, account, contact, opportunity, or any custom object. In our case, we wanted to create lead, so we will select lead. And then you can see there is a triggering condition. If you really wanted to have some condition, we will see in the later, maybe in coming scenarios, but you can add the conditions as well based on certain fields. And in the right hand side itself, you will see the sample output of your selected. This is just a dummy output for the selected object that we have. You can also do the click on select fields, and you would be able to select what fields you really wanted to select from the outcome. So for the demo purpose, I'm going to select all the fields and then click on apply. So basically there is a, if you don't see, yeah, so if you don't see that apply, there is a select all fields button in the bottom left, and then there is a apply field on the bottom right. So you just need to click on that, and you will see that now 86 fields has been selected. Next thing what we want to do is we wanted to send the data to the target org. So let's go ahead and click on this. You see this plus icon, so select this, and this time what we wanted to do is we really wanted to interact to a system. Like this is an interaction, and this is the logic, like if, else, for each, error handler, right? So we need to select system action. Again, what is our target? This is our source, and what is the target? This time it is again Salesforce, so we will select Salesforce. What is our org? That is not listed here, so we will again click on add new connection, and we will give it a name. I'm just giving it a name as my Hindi Salesforce org, that is my another org, and we'll click on connect. Again you'll be asked to provide the username and password and click on login. So you really have to provide the username and password for your Salesforce org and then click on login. So I have provided the username and password. Click on login, and it will again ask us to basically allow or deny the request, because it is a definitely need to send some data or read some data. So we will go ahead and click on allow, and you can also see that there is a success message we have got, and this time we can see there is a action to Salesforce which says that my Hindi Salesforce org. Now what we wanted to do is we wanted to, so if you see, right, this time we really see multiple options here as compared to the triggering point, because triggering point is going to have very few options. So we wanted to create a new record. Again, it will definitely ask what kind of object you wanted to create. That is also going to be the same object, which is lead. Now then here you can see there is a record, right? You see there is a record. It's going to ask the record field, which is company and last name, but we really need to map few fields as well. What are those fields? The first one is first name, then email, then there is a source lead ID, lead source, phone, mobile phone and phone, and then annual revenue. So these are some of the fields that we really wanted to map here. So if you see all the fields, once you select and click on apply, you will see all the fields are here, and now we really need to map. Okay, so to map, if you click on this company, you will see there is a trigger which says that on new record in Salesforce, and you can see all the fields, and these fields are basically coming from our triggering point. And we can search for company because we also have a company field there. Then last name, we can search for last name as well. Annual revenue is there. So far we have mapped all the fields. Now this is the source lead ID where we wanted to send the ID of this record which has been created. So for this we really need to search for record. Okay, it should be lead ID. Yeah, lead ID is the field that we need to map. So we are done with the mapping, right? And in the meantime we can also do a save. Once you click on save here, it will ask you to give the name of your flow. So this is my flow. I'm giving as main SFDC to Hindi org. So, and the name should be a meaningful name so that you can easily identify for which purpose you have created this name. Okay. Now your lead has been created in your main org. It is being sent to the other org, which is Hindi org. And as we talked about as part of our requirement, whenever this lead is created, we wanted to update back this lead record with the ID of this newly created lead, right? So we will again click on plus and then system action, select Salesforce, and this time you will see that your org is already here, so you really don't need to create a new connection. Select your org, that is my main org, and what action we want, that is update record. Which object we wanted to update, it is lead. Then it will again ask the record ID and which field you really wanted to update. So this is the lead ID. So how you will get the lead ID? This is basically, this is the lead record we wanted to update. So that is trigger. Okay, trigger or new record in Salesforce, or maybe if you click on this plus icon, you can say Salesforce main org just for the identifier. Okay, and this could be Salesforce Hindi org. So this is going to clearly give you the identifiers. And here now you need a lead ID. So you really need the lead ID from your main org. So search for lead ID. So you will see here lead ID is something which is your main org, right? Just select lead ID. Which field you wanted to update? So click on select additional fields and search for target, and you will see target Salesforce lead ID. Select this and then click on this apply button. And what value we wanted to provide here is, we really wanted to provide the value from the outcome of this Hindi org, the ID of this Hindi org. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you will see action which says that create new record in Salesforce Hindi org. So you can just select that ID and then go ahead and save your flow. So this is, if you see, right, this is simple like Salesforce flow, or it is simple like MuleSoft Composer, MuleSoft Anypoint Canvas flow. Now before we go ahead and activate this, we really need to test this flow so that we can test it and we can make sure that our flow is working fine. So just go ahead and click on test. This is going to first save your record, and then it is going to say waiting for the test to start. So it will wait until the test is starting. So you can see here now it says that testing awaiting trigger request. you have 10 minutes to create a record, lead record in your main org, and then wait for the processing to be processed, the records to be processed. So in a different tab, I'm quickly going to create a new lead record. So you can see here I have filled the information about the lead, which is Mr. the like Max the Mule. Company is MuleSoft, title could be MuleSoft developer. I have just given as Salesforce developer, some dummy number here, and then email. Let's go ahead and click on save. Our lead record has been saved successfully, and we can see the details over here that are coming up. Now if you get back to our composer flow, this composer flow is still waiting for the triggering event. It will we will wait for maybe 10 to 30 seconds, and we will see that our record will start get processing. This will catch the event and the record will get processed. Sometime it really takes more time while we are doing the testing, because we are doing the testing for the first time, so it really takes time. So if you see that it is taking time, you really don't need to worry about, just be patient, and maybe you can also refresh the page and you will see that your record has been processed. Because sometimes what really happens, it really has processed the record, but it keeps showing the spinner that it is still waiting for the event. So I will go ahead and refresh this page. Okay, this test stopped running express. Okay, there was some error. Let's do the test again. Yeah, so it is now waiting for the event. We'll quickly go ahead and clone this. I'm going to clone the same lead, not going to make any changes. Okay, lead already exists with the same email, so I'm just changing this email of my lead only. I've got the same lead with the different email. So you can see here, right, our test has been finished. You can see there is a green check mark here. You can see on the first flow, you can also see on the second flow as well, the third flow as well. This is the lead ID which has been created into the different system. If we come back here into our target system, navigate to the leads tab, and we would be able to see the latest lead which has been created. So to see that lead, maybe we can click on this recently viewed list view, select today's lead, and you can see here it says that Max the Mule, and you're able to see our email is like sfdcpanther@gmail.com. This is our lead ID, and if we get back to our source system and replace the ID on the top of our URL to make sure that we are getting into the correct lead, you will see this is our lead. Go to the details page and you can see this is the lead ID of our target Salesforce org. So basically it's clearly working. Sometimes it really takes time in the testing, so you really need to have patience, be patient while doing the testing. And once you're done with the first round of testing, it will be very easy and very quick to pick the new records and send it to the Salesforce target or any external application that you have defined as target. So this is like very easy. You can see here now, if you really wanted to modify the change, like make the modification here, click on this new button. Or let's say you are done with the modifications and you say, okay, I'm okay with this, you can go ahead and click on activate. So your flow is going to be active, and you see here it says that starting activation. There is a green sign here, green circle, and this circle will let you know that once your flow has been active. So you see here now it's more than half, like more than 50%. So now you can see that your flow is active because you can see the deactivate button, and if you wanted to see the details of your flow, you can click on flow detail button and you would be able to see the run history. So if there is any error, you will be able to see the one row here for the errors every time. And if you really wanted to now test it, maybe you can go ahead and clone your record and change the email ID, because I have a validation rule. So just clone the lead record and it will take some time and it will send the record. So now we have cloned our record, right? This will be sent to the target system, and then maybe within a minute the lead is going to be there in the target org. Now let's talk about the key features and the benefits of MuleSoft Composer. It is going to give you the built-in design and integration for the built-in connectors and templates. You really don't need to worry about writing the single piece of code, how you are going to take care about the authorization part, where is the sensitive data being stored, how you're going to store it. Everything is like managed by MuleSoft Composer. You are going to get the preview and the build real-time data, right? We have already seen how it is, how quick it is. We are able to see the data, we are able to see some dummy data at the real time. We are able to develop the flows very easily. We are able to do the built-in monitoring and automated error alerts. When we say monitoring and automated error alerts, we are going to see it in the flow detail page. That's also one of the benefit. We are going to get the better error handling with the help of our error handler. That error handler we are going to talk about into the coming scenarios. And then you can also transform your data using the expression and formulas. We are also going to see the expression and formulas into the coming sessions. Now let's talk about the limitations as well, because every technology comes up with some pros and cons, so there are also some limitations. So here are some of them I have listed down. Like MuleSoft Composer cannot be set up into the Salesforce sandbox or the MuleSoft sandbox org. It has to be there within the production environment. The maximum number of concurrent users are supported by the organization, that is 25. And the third point is very important, that MuleSoft Composer IPs are dynamic. So MuleSoft really cannot provide you the list of IP address for whitelisting. So if you have some system which is running behind the firewalls, or it is running at certain IP ranges, you really need to think twice before considering MuleSoft Composer as a solution. And then we cannot really support the bulk operation, because it is really going to process one record one by one. You can definitely create the records, multiple records at once, but that's not the best use case for using MuleSoft Composer. If you have records that are getting created one by one, some user is creating, or maybe one record is coming from external system through some interfaces, then it's really the good use case for considering MuleSoft Composer. But if you have records that are that you really wanted to process in bulk, maybe thousands, millions, billions records, MuleSoft Composer is not best fit for those. So this is it for this our first introductory video for MuleSoft Composer. Please give it a like, share, subscribe. Also press the bell icon, share it with your colleagues, friends who can get most out of our series. And please let us know if you have any scenarios in your mind into the comment section, and we will try to cover those as part of this series. Thank you, and we will meet into the next video.